What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another Wednesday Wisdom. Today we're talking about calling some turkeys. Hey everyone, thanks for showing up once again to another Wednesday Wisdom. With turkey season right around the corner in most states if it hasn't already opened, I figured I would let you guys know how I go about calling, give some tips for people that are new to calling, and just a little bit of a runaround so that if you're new to it, you can get a little bit more information. Maybe we can have a conversation. Hopefully you guys can leave some comments in the comment section below. But this call that I have, I just picked it up from Cabela's because I used to have a deuce cutter that I loved, but it got tore up because I used it too much. So I just picked up this Zinc Z Combo call. Sorry about that. Some dude was just looking at me like I was crazy walking by my truck. This Zinc Z Combo call, and I'm loving it. It's a 2-reed, so you don't gotta put as much air through it to make it sound good. It's better for softer calls, but we typically try to get in there as close to the roost as we can, so it's not a bad call to have in my opinion. First thing to note with a diaphragm call, gotta break them in. In my humbled opinion, you have to break them in. The latex will be a little bit stiff right out of the box. Some people like it the way it comes right away, but I personally like to break them in a little bit, keep them in your mouth, keep working them. If you're new to calling, this is how I would get you started with a diaphragm call. Grab the call, throw it in your mouth, see how it feels. You want to get this reed closer to your mouth so there's only a small gap there so you can keep a more consistent tone across the call. So all I did is I take it and I bend it just a tad bit until it feels comfy. Then throw it in your mouth, and like I said, once again, if you're new to calling, throw it in your mouth and just try to blow air through it. Try to make noises. I remember I used to joke around, me and my cousin would laugh or say the ABCs, but just to get air going through the call, give you a better idea of how the call works. So you got to put a little bit of pressure with your tongue on the roof of your mouth, pinching this up against the top, and all the calling happens is as you're moving that tongue away from the reed. So by doing that, like I said, saying the ABCs and stuff, it'll give you a better idea of how your tongue has to move on the reed. Helps you get used to moving your jaw, because that'll help you make calls as you get more advanced. So now moving into a couple of calls. If I had to learn 2 calls to get hunting and get out in the woods, it would be a cluck and a yelp. Those 2 calls you can kill turkey with. You can get fancy if you want to, but some birds are a little bit call shy and some of them need a lot of calling. It's no different than anyone if you've ever been out there doing waterfowling. You got to feel out the bird, see what they like, and that's the only way you're going to get it done. But here's the 2 calls that I'd learn if you're a starter to get yourself out in the woods. So here's the cluck. It's just a very short you could do that call all by yourself, just that one little piece, and you could kill turkey. You're going to get them to gobble doing that. The key is to just drop your jaw down just the slightest bit. Keep your tongue pressed against the roof of your mouth, letting it pop off and putting the pressure right back on to cut the call back off. The next one you're going to want to learn is the yelp. It's very similar to the cluck, but it's a longer, drawn-out version. It's going to sound... So now I'll throw the call in. You're doing the same thing as I was just doing here. You want to let your jaw drop, and you're going to leave it longer and let the air fade off so that it's a longer, more drawn-out call. It's not as crisp, cut off every time like your cluck was, but you do want to make sure you're cutting it off at the end so you're not getting a hum. Here would be the wrong way to do it, with a hum when you're not cutting off the air the right way. Here's the right way to do it, making sure you're cutting that air so you get a clean note. those two calls right there, as you work with them a little bit more, like I said, I'd learn the cluck for first after you get the idea of how the sound works coming off a reed. That'll be your first turkey-like sound coming off your reed. Then you can switch into the yelp. And if you start to feel very comfortable with that, you can throw those kind of things together. If birds are really crazy and active, you can start firing different groups of calls and sounds at them to keep them fired up and keep them committing. I will say with that, I was trying to put a lot of air over this call. A 2-reeded call is going to need not so much air to go over it, so it's going to get a little bit squeakier at the top end. It won't keep that rasp. If you keep it a little bit quieter, it's going to sound better. So definitely buy a call. I would suggest a double-reeded call with no cuts, no nothing. As you can see, this has got a little bit of different action on it, but I wouldn't do anything with any kind of cuts for your first call. Just get a simple double reeded call. It'll be the best way to learn how to call. Then you can do a simple triple reed if you want. I know H&S Strut and other companies like that make very simple calls. Then you get into your different pieces where you've got your cuts and your snake tail tongues and all that stuff. So here's me blowing through this call just a little bit lighter. You'll hear the rasp come out in it a little bit more, and that's where I really like it, especially when you're nice and close into those roosting areas. Get nice and close. Don't gotta call as loud, and you can have really nice crisp runs and calls. Just like any kind of bird hunting, you got to feel out the bird. You got to get them an idea of how they're reacting to the calls. If they're call shy, then you might not call as much. Let them know where you are and let them come to you. If they're very active, gobbling after every call, you might want to call a little bit here and there, but still, in that case, don't overcall. A new hunter, you get very excited and you're going to overcall to birds, and sometimes that'll make them call shy. So after you get them starting to commit, maybe a couple of calls here and there, but you don't have to blow them up every single second, every time they gobble. Keep the birds interested, have fun with it. Calling can be a blast. Turkey hunting is so much fun because you get to interact with the animals, and that's one of my favorite reasons for getting out with all the different types of bird hunting, waterfowl and such. You know, that interaction, that vocalizing back and forth. So it's awesome. It's a great way to get outdoors. It's a great way to get out after the snow is melted. Here we still have a little bit, so hopefully that'll disappear soon and we won't be shooting turkeys with snow on the ground. But yeah, get out there, learn some stuff, and who knows, maybe pretty soon you'll be shooting toms and dragging beards. Oh yeah, and by the way, go down here and subscribe. If you liked something, like it. If you didn't like something, comment it. Tell me if you want to see specific material, got questions, want me to answer, any of that good stuff. Comment right here. Go follow me on Instagram at HitOutdoors, H.I.I.T_outdoors. Facebook, Hit Outdoors, we got it all. I'm trying to keep everyone in the loop at all times. I'll be going out with some buddies this year, get them on film, hopefully shooting some more birds. Hopefully I'll shoot some birds, and it should be a good time. So like I said, please subscribe and like, and then go follow me on all the other platforms as well. That's all I got. So go hit your mark. Just kidding.